Welcome back to the Pacific Office Automation Postgame Scoreboard Show. The Oregon Ducks winners 39-18, the number one team in the land, beating Maryland to improve to 10-0 on the season. That number one ranking sure to stick for at least another week. We are going to connect now with our friend Dusty Harrah. You hear him every broadcast with the Toyota Sideline mic. And Dusty, usually the first thing I like to ask you is, what did you notice from the sideline tonight? But I actually have specific questions about what you may or may not have seen on the sideline tonight, because kind of need you to be our eyes and ears with some of this stuff. We know that Dan Lanning is going to play coy with a lot of it, and the broadcast can't see a lot either. Some injury stuff tonight. Jordan Birch nicked up late. Yeah. Trayshawn Holden nicked up early, and Jordan James pretty much absent during the second half. What, if anything, can you tell us about what you saw with those three guys tonight?
I'm sworn to secrecy. No, look, it's actually, and I know the doom and gloom, and people want to, it seems worrisome. Jordan James is trying to get back in the game, but I think they were holding him back because they knew they didn't really need him. Mm-hmm. Even though, it was a 14-point margin at that point, and they felt comfortable with the way that Noah Whittington was running. And at this point in the year, this is the 10th game that these guys have played. Your wear and tear, hits start adding up. I truly believe Dan Lanning when he said in his post game that, look, they were just being, it was precautionary, and they wanted to see, if you don't have to expose him to more hits, don't do it. And look, Noah Whittington was running the ball effectively. Mm-hmm. As effectively as they ran the ball tonight, which wasn't very effectively when Jordan Birch is your second leading rusher. With Jordan Birch, he came off the field, and obviously all eyes are going to be on him because of the ankle injury that he is recovering from. But I will say that he was walking around. He was limping a little bit, but I feel like anytime he's not taped up, he's limping a lot.
Do you know, was it a re-aggravation of the same injury, or was it something different?
No idea. Okay. I don't know about that, but the way he got landed on and kind of rolled up on, yeah. I think that it probably is the same ankle, but I mean, he wasn't looking like a guy, and this is something that, if a guy gets seriously hurt, they take him out, they take him up the tunnel, they go and they look at it, whatever. That never happened with Jordan Birch. He stayed on the sideline the whole time. Like, right when it happened, he was like, yep, all right, we're going to cut the tape off and you're done for the night. But I wasn't overly worried about either one of those injuries. Trayshawn Holden, I mean, he just got, I think he got like a dead leg.
Yeah, like a deep Charlie horse and a bone bruise type deal?
Yeah, because he came back in the game and he elevated it across the middle and caught a ball that was incredible catch. Where he had to use both of his legs, 2-foot jump, and elevate for it. So, he sat out for he didn't even sit out a full series. That was the time, he got injured, and then Oregon's offense didn't get on the field for, 20 minutes of real time, but it was
So it seemed like he was more absent than he was. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because of that. But the next series that the offense got the ball, Trayshawn was back on the field again. So okay. I think that might be he's a Ferrari. You get a little dust in the engine on a Ferrari. It goes down for a little bit, but then you get it revved back up, and he's good to go. I didn't, with the Tez Johnson injury, he was out during pregame warm-up, and Tez did not have a sling on during pregame warm-up. Yeah. So, I mean, we can take that for what it is. He didn't have a sling on during pregame. He was walking around. I won't say that he was fist pumping like a champ or anything, but that was encouraging to see just a week later, no sling on him. But, I think they kept him away from the sideline and away from the action, because you get a guy who's a dinged up shoulder, you don't want a guy flying out of bounds and taking him out, So I don't remember seeing him on the sideline after the pregame warm-up. So we did see Tez without a sling during the pregame warm-up. And I did see him go, and he dapped up a few guys and, gave a hug to some people. So, that is really encouraging on the Tez Johnson front.
Dusty, The offense seemed almost a little bit out of sorts. There weren't very many explosive plays. I mean, I think your second most explosive play is the fake punt, or it might be third if you're looking at it yardage-wise. How much is that offense actually missing Tez
number
Johnson?
one.
Is it number one? Sorry, I'm bad at math. English major.
Yeah, I think it is. I think that was the longest play from scrimmage was the Jordan Birch fake punt, and then the second longest one I believe was the Jordan James
catch out of the backfield
right before he scored the touchdown. Yeah, when they went for it on 4th and 1, he got that run, and then they followed it up with the dump off for 26 yards, and then they paid it off with the touchdown. You're right. The explosives weren't there, and Tez Johnson, I think that you are onto something. He has been a safety valve, and there was a lot of criticism that Dillon Gabriel only targeted Tez Johnson and Terrence Ferguson early in the year. He developed rapport with all the other guys that we've started to see as the season has gone on, that the distribution of the ball has gone to other places. But I think where Oregon may be missing Tez the most is the use of motion and the gravity that Tez Johnson dictates when he is in motion. It's on a different level, right? Because you have a corner, a safety, and a linebacker all move when Tez goes in motion. And that is something that we see it is all the time. It doesn't matter who you're motioning in that offense, whether it's Justice Lowe or Kenyon Sadiq or Evan Stewart. Those guys don't command the gravity from a defense and the attention and the sets of eyes that 15 does because of his speed and his ability to run routes. I mean, Tez, for as fast as he is, he's a phenomenal route runner too, and his spatial awareness. Like, every level has to account for where Tez is going. So I think that is something that they were trying to work through in this game. But I give Maryland a ton of credit because they had a week off, and they were ready, man. They didn't come out flat. They looked like they were ready to go. And especially in the secondary and at wide receiver, they got dudes.
Yeah, they're good.
I mean, they've got legit dudes. We talk about there's, Ty Felton, the wide receiver. You talk about, number one, the other wide receiver. Those two guys get a lot of love as wide receivers. Their secondary, those guys look like NFL dudes. They're long, they're big, they're physical. I thought they did a phenomenal job of playing sound and fundamentally sound football out of that bye week. And, if Wisconsin is watching that game and trying to take anything from what they've been prepping for with a week off, too, because this is a weird quirk in the schedule where Oregon plays 3 teams in a row that are all coming off bye.
Yep.
You have
not ideal.
Maryland, Wisconsin, and then Washington, but Oregon also has a bye heading into the Washington game.
Right.
But it's one of those weird quirks in the schedule, and Maryland looked really good, man. I was really impressed by them. Up front, they're not there, but, I think that their skills are very talented.
They were I think they're the most impressive, maybe non-contending team that we've seen in the Big Ten so far. I mean, I thought they were much better than Purdue, Michigan State, Illinois, obviously not Ohio State, but yeah, they looked, I thought they brought more to the table than I was expecting for sure. Dusty, one of the things with Oregon struggling with that Maryland defense a little bit, Oregon digging into their bag of tricks. They had the fake punt, they have a offensive tackle touchdown, they have a 2-point conversion. Kind of a 2-part question here. One, who has ultimate control over those trick plays when they happen? Will was surmising that it may have just been a look that they got that they really liked on the Jordan Birch play rather than a call that was coming in. But then additionally, I'm interested in who makes the personnel decision for who all that stuff goes to, because getting Jordan Birch out in the open field running was a sight to behold. Seeing Josh Connerly having a role in scoring on a 2-point conversion, then obviously bringing in a tackle that nobody's heard of yet to get the a record-breaking touchdown for Dillon Gabriel. Who draws this up? Who decides who the personnel is going to be, and how does this all come to be?
Well, I think that it was a conscious effort. I don't think it was necessarily a look that they really loved, because almost the exact same part of the field and the exact same down and distance. Remember last year against Washington State, Casey Rogers it's the exact same fake punt. The direct snap, and they snapped it to a defensive lineman. Last year it was Casey Rogers. And remember that momentum swing that gave Oregon in that moment against Washington State, where it became an avalanche downhill. And so I think that's Joe Lorick. I think he is one of the best special teams coordinators in the country. And I'm not just saying that because he's at Oregon. I have buddies that are special teams coordinators around the country at big-time programs that said, dude, he is money, and he is a really good one. And so I think that is Joe Lorick kind of developing that and making sure he's got that in his hip pocket. And then Will Stein is just in his bag. So Lorick they got that for both the fake punt and then the 2-point conversion too.
Because I was wondering if that was under special teams umbrella. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Lorick on the Connerly, and I don't know if they just they were feeding off each other. They were in the groove, but Janoris Wilson coming out and catching a touchdown, that wasn't hey, in the moment, this is what we should do, and just a spur of the moment thing. Because if you're listening to the broadcast, right before the opening kickoff of the game, the referee his mic and he said 78 is now number 91 for Oregon. And that's Janoris Wilson.
Yeah.
Before they started the game, they had Wilson in a 91 jersey.
They had to make a correction.
And then after he scored it, and then after he scored that, the referee came on the mic and says 91 is now 78. So I think they were just waiting to get into the red zone to throw that. And they knew, we get into the red zone, this is what we're doing. We're going to go for it. We're going to do it. And big fella climbed the ladder and caught a touchdown. The thing that impressed me, and Ortner, I need your take on this.
Yeah.
Josh Connerly on the 2-point try, dude, he gave the zone read. He put the ball in the belly of the running back. He did a little slide step, pulled, and he hit the hole, man. He looked like a quarterback back there.
That's because what you skinny people don't realize is all of us fat boys are out there running zone read on NCAA football and on Madden 25, and we go when you guys aren't watching, and we
ready
practice
for the moment.
it. We practice it a lot. I don't know. Maybe aside from your starting quarterback, your probably next best zone read option player is in the offensive line room. You just don't know which player it is yet.
But I mean, think about that drive. That was the drive Oregon needed. It was their biggest drive of the game. It was right after a 3-and-out to start the third quarter. Everybody has been talking about the third quarter woes for Oregon. It looked like they were facing another 3-and-out. It was like, oh boy, here we go again. And then you have 900 pounds of fun to finish off that drive for a touchdown.
That's right.
I mean, you got Birch, who's 280. Connerly is 320. Wilson's 340. I mean, you had 900 pounds.
You know what, Dusty?
Scoring those touchdowns.
I'll have you know that is what I made today's secret score in the very first segment. Usually we only give it out in the first and the seventh segment. But, yeah, I added up the weight of those three boys. 920, your total beef leading to that touchdown.
My goodness, man. And that's just – I love to see that entire drive. I think that, they knew they were going to – that was the moment to swing momentum on that fourth down. They were definitely going to run that play to Wilson at some point in the low red area. And then I think the Connerly one was oh, the hell with it. We've already done, what are we going to lose here? Because they didn't really need the two. It was just yeah, we're going to do this right now. But that was a little bit of fun in a game that it had some mundane, man. It didn't feel like it was an explosive game, but we've seen this from every team across the country this year. Mm-hmm. Every single team. Nobody is impervious to a performance like this. But Oregon won by 21.
Quick one for you, Dusty. Do we have a punter controversy? And maybe not controversy, but obviously we get two guys in there kicking today. It's not the first time we've seen both punters punt in the same game. But is this an open competition? Is it situational? And any thoughts or insights there?
Yeah, I don't know what that is, and that's maybe some questions I'm going to start having to ask. Is the handling, not just punters but kickers too,
sure,
right?
Of course, Boyle, yeah.
we see Boyle like kick some field goals, long range field goals. They mix it up on kickoffs too, and I don't know the strategy behind it. I don't know how calculated that is, but it is interesting that, I mean, I guess they feel like they've got two really good kickers and two really good punters. I don't know if there's a controversy right now or what's going on, but it's an interesting strategy you don't really see very often in football. I mean, if you have a kicker, that's your kicker until your kicker screws up, and then you put the other one in.
Yeah. All right. Well, Dusty, before we get you out of here, what's on tap for the program?
Oh, yeah, the program. We've got, obviously, recap of this game. We've got Michael De La Grange on, who is a really interesting dude. He'll be on this week's episode. He is a guy.
Former O lineman or D lineman? Yeah, offensive. Okay, yeah, I remember. He was my time.
O lineman, yeah. With Joey for a little bit and kind of crossed over into the Kellen Clemens range as an offensive lineman. Now he runs one of the collectives for the University of Oregon.
Okay.
So he's a self-made businessman after football. Now helps with the NIL front and the collective front. So we're going to chat with him, and then next week. I just saw Kenyon Varner today, and we were trying to line something up this past week, but Kenyon Varner will be on the next episode. So we're going to have Michael De La Grange this week. Next week, it'll be Kenyon Varner joining the program. So excited for both of those interviews. It's going to be awesome.
Definitely. I remember De La Grange. He was still there when I first got to the U of O, and saw Kenyon Varner on the Big Ten broadcast today, and he was excellent. So looking forward to hearing from him. Dusty, always appreciate your time and your insights. We'll be sure to catch you noon to 3, Danny and Dusty, Monday through Friday. Get home safely, friend.
All right, fellas. Have a good one.
That is Dusty Harrah. He patrols the sidelines for the Oregon Ducks broadcasts, and as I mentioned, you can hear him every Monday through Friday, noon to 3 on Danny and Dusty.